let's travel now to Central Europe, to Poland, and meet Jadwiga. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce again your name correctly. Mostowska. Welcome.
Hello everybody. I hope that you can hear and see me all right. Greetings from Poland, greetings from Łódź. My name is Jadwiga and I represent Centralny Gabinet Edukacji Filmowej. I know it's pronounced difficulty and there is no good translation into English. I'm supposed to talk about the Z generation, about the popularity of podcasts and TikToks among the Z generation. And towards the end of my presentation, I would also like to say a few words about the Kids for Kids digital service, as we were asked also by Lena to reflect a little bit on how it could possibly work. So let me share my screen with you, as I believe that some presentation, some visual aids would be good. Okay, I hope you can see my presentation right now. And so that's the title.
Yes, we can.
Yes, I believe it's in full screen mode right now.
No, it's not. Will you try?
Again, all right, I'll try again. How about now?
Correct.
Perfect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. So let's move on. I hope you can now see it. All right. A lot has been said already about the Z generation, so I'm not going to go back to what already been said by previous speakers. Obviously, that's the generation that most easily juggle various forms of media, whether it be online or traditional, and finding those that best suits their current needs. And they're, of course, considered to be a generation that spends little time in the real world. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's how they are. They are seen, especially by older generations. And if you compare younger generation Y and Generation Z, we can obviously see that the attention span is dropping, that they use multiple screens at once to more extent that millennials. And they prefer social media that are focused on visual messages, short visual messages, and hence the popularity of TikTok among the Generation Z. I know that there have been a lot of research on Generation Z and popularity of podcasts and TikToks among that generation. But I would like to refer to a fairly recent Polish report, because it might be interesting maybe to compare how it is in your own countries. And so over 8 million Poles have had contact with this medium, and the group of TikTok users increased by 58% compared to the previous year. I know if maybe the pandemic time, the COVID situation has also some impact on that, but I think it's a large number here really. And there are also older users outside the so-called Generation Z. I believe it is very common with all the social media that younger people are starting using them, and then older generation are joining in. Also, if you see that 40% of Polish respondents use the application from 1 to 5 times a day, I believe it's also quite often. And so-called heavy users seems to be still younger users, but older users are becoming more frequent also users of a TikTok. And people use TikTok to a large extent, even for over 2 hours a day. So it's a time-consuming hobby, obviously. And more than half of the respondents admitted that they record their own TikTok. So they not only consume the visuals prepared by other users of TikTok, but they also create their own. And of course, it's probably no surprise for you that materials such as trend challenges, dancing, lip syncing. Those are the most popular TikToks that are produced, that are presented, recorded by the users. I believe it's pretty same thing elsewhere. And we may, of course, wonder why podcasts, why TikTok are so popular among that particular generation. And well, we can probably think about few answers. One of them being the fact that short form content simply better resonates with that generation, and TikTok fits their lifestyle, their media habits. It also offers what they like most, which is user-generated content. Generation Z, they're also multitaskers. Like I've said before, they use multiple screens, then watch and listen to many things at the same time. So it is important for them to have a quick and easy access to the content, ability to simultaneously consume many different materials, whether visual, whether audio or audiovisual. So they can use Instagram and look at the pictures or stories on the Instagram, and at the same time listen to the podcasts or to the music, or maybe watch film while listening to the music, doing things at the same time and switching between the medias, between the contents. But another interesting thing is, I believe, the question, how does this popularity of, for example, TikTok influence the audiovisual content and the way of its consumption? And obviously, consumption of the visual content take place more and more on mobile devices these days. Videos are shot on smartphones in this portrait rather than the landscape orientation. And that, of course, changes the visual paradigm and creates new visual aesthetic. And here are some examples, some recent examples of some mainstream movies produced and distributed by one of the streaming platforms. Those are, of course, addressed to the younger viewers. And as you can see, this portrait, not the landscape orientation, the presence of the visual sort of looks of the social media is pretty obvious. And of course, like I said, TikTok's users like TikTok because it offers user-generated content. And what is also popular on TikTok, it's aesthetics. TikTok users are sharing some inspirations for those looks through mood boards, through fashion and design suggestions. And this popularity of this DIY do-it-yourself aesthetic is all highly stylized visual trends, is also popular and is taking over pop culture. And here are also some examples, again, from these teenage movies, how are they advertised, how the room of the main character looks like. It looks like all those trending aesthetics from TikTok, how the room of a TikToker should look like. The room of the main character in the movie looks pretty much the same. So like in the 80s and 90s, MTV and music television and video clips were taking over pop culture. Now it's social media. But you know, I believe it is worth to talk about, discuss the generation, about to better understand logic and actions of the representatives. But whenever we talk about generation, we must be careful because it may lead us to some generalization, simplification, stereotypes, putting people in boxes, especially when we focus on those negative qualities. We may not see people how they really are. We may not see their creative potential, who they want to be, who they could be. That was also mentioned by Lena before, that especially older generations tend to criticize younger ones and see some negative qualities in them. And of course, this Kids for Kids digital service, I believe, can be an answer to that. Because it can help young people to have an opportunity to express their views. But let me play a devil's advocate for a moment. Do they need Kids for Kids if they already have TikTok? And how can we make this service attractive place for children? a platform when they would like to be with their content. Platform cannot exist without the help of the adults, but we should probably think how we could make it the place, the space for the children, really kids for kids, really for kids, kids for kids. That's the key issue here. And I believe asking children how this platform should look like, that will be very important step, because we adults are meeting, we discussing it. Of course, that's important, but we should also give opportunity to children, to kids, to have their say. And possible solutions also in organizing the service would be to give young people a space where they could comment, and they could be experts maybe on the audiovisual content, how to create them. They could vote for the best videos. They could comment whether this material is complete, whether those films represent their lives. So altogether, we should let them speak for themselves. And as for the sources, as for the content, where we can get them, when we can get the content, where we can get the films from, the best source, of course, are open sections of children films festivals, national, international. Maybe it would be possible to create some new special Kids for Kids section at some festivals. Also organize new independent competitions. And third option is organizing film workshops, those who organize film workshops for children to provide some films. Of course, a regulation about the licenses, legal issues should be decided how it should look like. We probably could discuss this. In case of the institutions, they would be responsible to obtaining necessary consent. Well, but the most important thing from our perspective is to make it really Kids for Kids service, and let young people to be seen, to be visible, to stay connected with what's important for them. So I think that would be it for me. Thank you very much. And many thanks to my colleague Dorota, who is here with me too, for her input into this presentation. And here are some contact details. If you would like to contact us later, please do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jadwiga. This time I said it right, I think.
Perfect, Lena, perfect.
Okay.